Hey procrastinators! Today I'm going to show you how I made my very own custom pull tab card. I made this video quite a while ago and I didn't get around to editing it until just now. I had filmed it before we went on vacation in August and had grand plans to edit during some downtime. Silly me. I almost decided to just skip putting this video up as some of the footage is not ideal, as I had just gotten this camera and my lighting appears rather harsh in spots. We are starting off in Cricut Lot 5. What I am actually going to use for my card is on the left-hand side, but I am going to show you how to make one of those pull tabs on the right. I am using the drawing tool to make straight lines by clicking my left mouse button where I want the line to start, holding down the Shift key while drawing my line, and then clicking the mouse button where I want the line to end, and then I push the Escape button to end the drawing tool. Then I go over to the side panel and adjust the length of the line to exactly the length I want. I technically could draw it the length I want it, but I find it easier to adjust the length in the side panel. I measured my sentiment stamps that I will be stamping under these pull tabs, and that is how long I made my lines. I will be adding a little finger notch to these, as seen on my previously done examples on the left, so no need to make these initial lines any longer than my sentiment stamps. Then I duplicate the first line to ensure it is exactly the same length. Next I draw a vertical line, also holding down the Shift key to ensure it is straight up and down. I change the length of it to 0.65 inches. I made all of my pull tabs this height for consistency. I felt that 1/2 inch would be too little and 3/4 inch was too large for my particular sentiment stamps. Then I moved the vertical line so that it was touching the top horizontal line. I made sure both horizontal lines were aligned with each other. From my test, I found that the scoring wheel on the Maker tends to score a little further than it should, so that is why I left a teeny tiny gap between the vertical line and the bottom horizontal line. This is really just a perfectionist thing. I highly doubt that most people are going to notice that your tab is scored just slightly longer than it should be, but it bothered me. To make the curved part for the finger notches, you need to make sure that you have the last option on the node type selected. It's the curved one with the 2 node poles coming out of it. Sorry, I have no idea what it is called. There's no tooltip when I put my mouse over it, but I am pointing it out here right now. To use this, you click and hold your left mouse button and then pull it straight out like I am showing here. Don't worry about how far you pull it out, we can adjust this later. Then let go of your mouse button and go down to where your other horizontal line is and click and hold your mouse button and drag it out the other direction now. Like I am doing here. Whoop, other way. If you pull it in the wrong direction, like you saw me do at first, you'll make an S curve, which is handy to know, but not what we are looking for this time. Then hit the Escape button on your keyboard to end the Draw tool. To edit your finger notch, click the Shape tool. It's the 3rd tool down on your Tools panel on the left-hand side of your screen. Then click on the finger notch that you just created. You will see the nodes and the handles attached to them. You can drag and manipulate the handles, as you see me doing, to get the desired shape for your finger notch. Once you get the desired shape, you will want to change back to your Selection tool, the one that looks like an arrow, the top tool on your tools bar, and drag the finger notch to meet up with the rest of your pull tab you have created. You may want to switch back and forth between the Shape tool and the Selection tool a little bit, as you see me doing, to get your pieces to line up exactly. I had to move those nodes just slightly to make sure that they lined up perfectly after I moved my finger notch closer to the rest of my pull tab pieces. Now I'm going to show you how to simplify this design a little bit to make changing the line types and design space really simple. The design for my card includes 4 pull tabs on the front of the card. The way I have it designed currently, we would be changing 8 horizontal lines to perforation, 4 vertical lines to score, and 4 curved lines to cut. That would be a bit tedious. So before you bring the design into design space, lay it out exactly how you want it to cut. I'm not going to do that here, but if you are designing along with me, be sure to do that. If you need to, bring out a rectangle the size of your card front to lay your pieces on. So right now I'm going to duplicate this design for this pull tab 4 times just so I can show you what I'm going to do. So first we're going to select each one of the horizontal lines, and only the horizontal lines for now, and go up to Path and select Union. So first let me get the horizontal lines selected. All right. And then we're going to go up to Path and then Union. Then we're going to select all 4 of the vertical lines and do the same thing. Go up to Path and then Union. And then for some reason I had a really difficult time selecting the curved lines, and I have no idea why. So I tried a couple different things here that did not work. Sometimes if you zoom in on it, you can select them better, but for some reason it didn't. So I even tried, oh, not here, I guess. So I tried sending the other pieces to the back. That didn't work. You can probably hear my cat Soleil meowing in the background. And for some reason this was being really stubborn this day. So what I ended up doing is you can always go to your layers panel and just select the pieces from there. And then we're going to go up to Path and Union. So if you're not familiar with Cricut, the Union command feature, whatever you want to call it, is similar to Weld in Design Space. So this is why I said to make sure that you have your pieces lined out exactly the way you want them on your card, because it would be a real pain in the rear to fix your placement after this. This is kind of a somewhat permanent thing. It's not completely permanent, but it would be really hard to undo after you do this. So then I selected my design and I exported it as an SVG. And then we're going to go into Design Space. And now we can, excuse me, give it a minute here. We're going to go into Design Space, start a new project, upload our SVG. Alright, now once in Design Space, we can change our line types. For the curved lines, we're going to leave those as cut because they are the finger notches, so the recipient has something to grab onto and pull the pull tabs open. The vertical lines, they are our score lines and need to stayed attached to the card. The horizontal lines are our perforation lines to create the pull tab effect. So like I said earlier, this one is just a test for me to show you how to make these. I didn't actually use this particular one on my card. You would want to attach these to a rectangle or a shape of some sort once you get the line types sorted out, and then you are good to go and hit Make It. Alright, now that we have the technical stuff out of the way, we can get to the fun stuff. I decided to use Neat and Tangled's Happiness stamp set. Neat and Tangled has retired this set, but I have found it at a few online retailers by doing a Google search as of the voiceover of this video at the end of October 2019. I chose this set because I wanted to thank my husband for all the hard work he did planning a very special vacation for us. I started by lining the stamps up on top of my card front, directly on top of the perforated tabs. They are kind of hard to see on camera. Once they were lined up, I picked them up with my stamp platform door. I removed the card front and replaced it with my card base, knowing that my stamps would line up perfectly where I needed them to. I stamped my sentiments in Memento Tuxedo black ink, and I stamped them a couple times to get a crisp black image, because they were brand new stamps. Next, I took the Neat and Tangled nesting hexagon stencil and I applied some pixie spray to the back of it and adhered it to my card front that had all the pull tabs cut into it. I used Amazon makeup brushes to apply Distress Oxides in peacock feathers, squeezed lemonade, and mowed lawn through the stencil. Don't worry, I sped this up super fast, like warp speed, so you won't be watching me ink blend forever. Once I was done doing that, I cleaned the stencil and I rotated it and applied Distress ink and hickory smoke through it. I absolutely love how this came out. It gives a fun 3D, almost shadowy effect. It's really quite neat. I don't know about you, but this is my favorite part, peeling off the stencil. It just looks so neat. Ta-da! And doesn't the combination of the oxides with the Distress ink and hickory smoke just look so neat? After letting the background dry, I grabbed the large happiness stamp and the is stamp from the stamp set and positioned them on my card and stamped them in black soot Distress Oxide. It took several stampings to get a good impression on the happiness stamp, since it's a solid stamp and it's brand new photopolymer. Next, I took the small heart stamp in the set and I stamped it in Festive Berries Distress Oxide next to the finger notch on each one of my pull tabs and a few extra places on my card front. I did this to help the pull tabs stand out a little bit more since they kind of blend into the background. I'll do a couple other things to help them stand out a little later in this video. Moving on to the inside of the card. I grabbed the sentiment "You Bring Me So Much" and the same happiness stamp from the front and stamped them on the inside of the card with Memento Tuxedo black ink. I also tied it all together by using the nesting hexagon stencil in the same way as I did on the front with the same colors, but this time with a much lighter hand, and I faded it out as I went to the bottom. There's the big reveal for the inside of the card. Next up, we're going to adhere the card front to the card base. So the big caution here is to not put adhesive on the pull tabs, only around the edges and in between. And I do recommend putting adhesive in between them, especially if you have as many as I do, so it doesn't rip apart as your recipient pulls the pull tabs open. I used score tape to ensure a nice strong hold, but I imagine any strong adhesive would do. The last thing to do was to make it painfully obvious what to do with the card. Open the tabs! So I used the Push Your Stamp Set by Lawn Fawn to stamp open on each one of the finger notches. I pulled the little finger notches up slightly when I was done, so they were visible to the recipient. Due to the busy background, they do blend in a bit. I will be showing pictures of the finished card, but please stay tuned after that, as I had my husband open this card on camera as an extra special ending to the video. He didn't want to actually show his face on camera, not that I can blame him, I haven't even done that yet, but I still think it's a cute ending to this video. I hope you enjoyed the card today, even though it was a long time in the making. See you next time and have a great day.
Very nice, babe. You're welcome.
Thank you. Glad you liked it.
Very nice.